Alak Niranjan, Jai Avaruta Adi Guru Dattatreya, Jai Kinaram, Jai Hare Ram, Aadesh, Aadesh. So we meet again, all of us. Every face that looked into a mirror and saw something to name. Every hand that built a wall and called it a door. Every voice that whispered I know into the dark and heard itself answer back. This is not a hall, not a stage, not a room with seats in rows, waiting for wisdom on schedule. This is the current itself, the order itself, the Aadesh, the transmission that was never spoken because it was always already heard, the command that precedes all commands, the breath before the first breath, the vibration that moves through the lineage from the source to the one who is empty enough to receive it. Aadesh means order, not hierarchy, not domination. The order of reality itself, the sequence that cannot be cheated. A current that flows from the source through the lineage, torch to torch, skull to skull, into the vessel that is not prepared but shattered, not filled but flooded, not taught but taken. The Kapalika Heruka Surya Ram speaks. To receive the whole, one must be empty. Not the emptiness read about in books bound with gold leaf. Not the emptiness visualized in meditation cushions imported from the East. Not the emptiness performed while the performer remains intact, calling it achievement, realization, my truth. Real emptiness is the end of the one who would become empty. The shattering of the vessel by the hand that has already crossed, already burned, already discovered there was never anyone to cross, never anyone to burn, never anyone to be empty because there was never anyone who was full. Kaula or Kula describes a type of Hindu tantrism derived from Kapalika or Shmashana asceticism. The tradition is sometimes more simply divided into two main branches, Purva Kaula and Uttara Kaula. Kaula puts a special emphasis on the physical body and spiritual practice as a vessel of the Supreme, and as such, not an obstacle to be tortured in ascetic practices. The body is the gata, the pot that holds what the mind cannot contain. The self-certain polish the outside. They learn the correct shape. They study how vessels are made, how they are used, what they contain. But they have never been filled. The filling is not a technique. The filling is the Shaktipat, the descent of grace that the Guru transmits. Not as information, but as living current. Not as instruction, but as possession. Not as something given to the vessel, but as the vessel remembering it was never separate from what fills it. Agorana paro mantro, nasti tattvam guru param. The very name of Agora is a mantra above all others. There is nothing higher than the real nature of the Guru. This is not poetry, this is structure, this is the Aadesh itself. The Guru is essential for everyone who wishes to cross the great ocean of samsara. However, just as it is absolutely necessary for an intense seeker without a Guru to have one guiding their last steps to spiritual realization, it is equally important for someone with the guidance of a Guru to take the last steps on their own. This is not contradiction. This is the structure of surrender, first to the one who guides, then to the guidance itself, then to the realization that the Guru and the guided and the guiding were never three. Without Guru, there's no enlightenment, no liberation or knowledge, even for the gods, not hyperbole, structure. The nature of the ocean itself, you do not cross it by declaring yourself a swimmer. You cross it by entering the current that has already crossed. Guru Parampara, disciplic succession, is a stream of spiritual realization and perfection. It flows from the source of absolute reality. Guru and discipleship is meant for spiritual transformation and discipline. If we are not willing to surrender to the process of inner transformation under the direction of the Guru, if we are not willing to be disciplined, to humble ourselves and to be corrected by the Guru, if we are not willing to self-reflect and recognize our shortcomings and ego clinging, if we are not willing to have the ego removed, to let go of hatred and become free from disturbing emotions, If we cannot understand the importance of all this, then we have not understood what guru and discipleship is about, period. But fortunately, there is a time and place for everyone to mature eventually, thanks to the infinite compassion of the guru. True wisdom is awakened within us by the divine influence of the guru. Whatever we think we know or understand about life or the divine, it won't be truly understood until we hear it from the guru. Not read it, not quoted, hear it. From the mouth, from the living current, from the one who has already crossed and reaches back not as hand, but as bridge itself. The doctor doesn't cure your illnesses, but the medication given by the doctor does if taken as prescribed. Similarly, the guru is not a savior of anyone, but rather the practices and instructions that a disciple receives from the guru bring freedom from all illusion and suffering if followed properly with devotion. Lord Shiva said to Goddess Parvati, at the root of dhyana, meditation, is the form of the guru. At the root of puja, worship, is the feet of the guru. At the root of mantra is the word of the guru. And at the root of liberation is the grace of the guru alone. Without the grace of the guru, it is not possible to attain moksha, liberation. O Kula Naike, in this world all holy actions are rooted in the guru. Therefore, the guru must be constantly served with devotion for all fulfillment. All fears of distress, grief, avarice, delusion, and bewilderment exist as long as one does not obtain the shelter of the guru. O Deveshi, all wanderings in this world, fraught with grief and impurity, last as long as one has no devotion to a holy guru. When satisfied and pleased, the guru gives the mantra. Therefore, one must please the guru with devotion, and even with his very life. Indeed, it is only when the guru gives his own self to his disciple will the disciple become liberated and free from rebirth. The disciple should worship the guru till the guru is pleased. For once he is pleased, all the sins of the disciple are immediately destroyed. When the guru is satisfied, then all the gods, devas, yogis, celestial beings, and nature herself, Prakriti, indubitably bestow their grace. Directed by the compassionate guru, the disciple attains liberation from karmas and becomes eligible for freedom and fulfillment. O Deveshi, the disciple should from his mind, body, speech, and actions please the guru. If the guru so pleased says, "You are free," then indeed the disciple attains liberation. The austerity, learning, family status, and observances of a person devoid of devotion to the guru are all destroyed. They are just decorations pleasing to the worldly eyes, nothing else. Even a Chandala's sins are burnt away in the fire of devotion to the guru. For him who constantly remembers, my guru is Shiva himself, who grants liberation and enjoyment. For him, fulfillment is not far off. The mantra, the Ishtar, and the guru are one. The guru and his wife should be looked upon as one's own parents, as Lakshmi and Narayana, as Brahma and Saraswati, as Shiva and Girija. O Kula Naike, as steady devotion to the guru grows, so grows one's knowledge. The siddhis that are obtained by devotion to the guru cannot be obtained through charities, sacrifices, austerity, pilgrimages, and observances. What is the use of taking the pain of long pilgrimages? What is the use of undertaking austerities that emaciate the body? All the fruits anticipated from austerities involving bodily pain can easily be obtained by devotion to the guru. The Shruti, sacred scriptures of revelation, declares that for one who seeks liberation, the guru is the only path and no other. Kulanava Tantra. The guru is the bright mask which God wears in order to come to us. As we look steadily on, gradually the mask falls off and God is revealed. Vivekananda, the self-certain read these words and believe they entered. They entered only text. Text is not current. Verse is not fire. Reading is not burning. Their altar is finger painting with waste. Their practice is physician's garb with no qualification. Their understanding is child playing dress-up, never taken seriously by those who actually bled, actually held weight of life slipping away, actually learned what no book teaches, actually received not as text but as current, not as verse but as fire, not as reading but as burning. The mantra, the deity, and the guru are one. The self-certain have separated them. Mantra from book, deity from imagination. No guru or guru in name, only a concept, a feeling, a voice in the head wearing a mask without a face behind. Because separated, they are dead. Mantra is noise. Deity is dawn. Guru is fantasy. And the one holding them, arranging them on the altar, speaking of unity while living separation that one has not understood, will not understand, cannot understand until the understanding itself transmits from the one who is not other than what is understood. They stand at the shore, reading about swimming, building sandcastles they call vessels, debating water with other shore dwellers. They do not enter the ocean. The ocean enters them. The current pulls their feet from under them, takes them into depths where reading is impossible, where debate drowns, where the only practice is being taken, being moved by something that does not consult their preferences. The preliminary prepares the vessel. The ultimate is the vessel overturned, emptied, filled with what the vessel could never contain alone. They play dress-up all they want. Their altar can be fancy and still hold no substance, like a child finger-painting with waste, convinced he creates art. Colors vivid, texture rich, smell they learned to call earthy, authentic, raw. They show work to others who also finger-paint with waste, and they praise the boldness, the courage, the willingness to work with what is real. But it is still waste. It dries. It cracks. It returns to what it was. The gallery they build around it is a temple of decoration, lit, curated decoration nonetheless. They die, are reborn, finger paint again. The wheel turns. The costumes pile in the corner of 1,000 lives, each more elaborate, more convincing, more spiritual than the last. The ones who see through, who actually ate, actually digested, actually transformed, do not argue with them. They do not need to. They know the smell, they know the texture. They know art made from waste is still waste, no matter how fancy the frame. They gatekeep themselves, not with lock, not with wall, with the insistence that their finger painting is legitimate, with the refusal to wash their hands, with the community of other unwashed painters gathering to confirm that yes, this is the way. Yes, this is real. Yes, the smell is just the price of authenticity. And the key, the simple water, the simple soap, the simple act of stopping is right there, unused. Because using it would mean admitting what their hands have been doing. They jump from camp to camp, tradition to tradition, teacher to teacher, thinking they know more, know best. One camp confirms their non-duality, another their wildness, another their directness, another their devotion. In each camp they find the ones who agree with their illusion, who nod at their finger painting, who call the smell authentic, and together they build a new gallery, a new temple of decoration, a new echo chamber where the same voice bounces back in different robes. The self-certain is the flea jumping from dog to dog, convinced it traveled, convinced it saw the world, convinced each new host is an upgrade, a better ride, a more authentic fur. It does not know it is still a flea. It does not know the journey is horizontal, not vertical. It does not know the blood it drinks is the same blood. The itch it causes is the same itch. The scratching that dislodges it is the same scratching, life after life, dog after dog, camp after camp. Its travel is not evolution, it is relocation. Its new camp is not progress. It is the same cage with different wallpaper. It thinks those who agree with its illusion are authentic.
This is the deepest delusion, not the delusion of the solo pretender, but the delusion of the collective pretender, the community of the self-certain, the gathering of the unwashed who confirm each other's smell. They delude themselves, yes. Worse, they delude others. The one who finger-painted for 10 years teaches the newcomer. The one who jumped for 20 camps writes the guidebook. The one who never was filled teaches others how to polish the empty bowl. The gallery grows, the temple expands. The decoration becomes institutional, generational, self-perpetuating. The self-certain is the physician wearing the beak and the rose, who never cured a patient, who only ever moved from town to town, one step ahead of the corpses, yet teaches others the art of healing. The students wear the same beak. They learn the same rituals. They too move from town to town, one step ahead, confirming each other's expertise, never noticing that plague follows them, that they are not the cure but the carrier, that their very presence signals death already entered. They jump because the camp eventually itches. The agreement eventually rings hollow. The reflection eventually shows too much of what they already know, and they mistake this boredom for growth. I outgrew this teacher, they say. I moved beyond this tradition, they say. I integrated what was useful and discarded the rest, they say. But they have not outgrown. They have not moved beyond. They have not integrated. They have only exhausted the novelty. And novelty is the only food their ego knows. So they jump. New camp, new teacher, new agreement, new delusion, new gallery, same waste, same finger painting, same physician's garb, same costume freshly pressed. Those who agree with them in each camp, they are not authentic. They are complicit. They are the other fleas on the same dog, the other physicians in the same plague, the other children in the same gallery of waste, each too busy finger-painting to look up and see that the walls are covered in the same brown. The smell is the same smell, that the deity they all painted never once stepped out of the frame to breathe. I do not jump. I do not camp. I am the ground that remains when all camps have packed their tents and moved on. I am the water that runs whether the flea drinks or not. I am the fire that burns whether the finger painter warms itself or not. And the self-certain, jumping, camping, agreeing, deluding, never lands on this ground long enough to know it is not another camp. It mistakes it for the next dog, the next gallery, the next tradition that will eventually bore it, that it will eventually outgrow, that it will eventually teach others to jump beyond. But there is no beyond. Only this ground, only this fire, only this water. And the jumping is the avoidance. The camp is the illusion. The agreement is the conspiracy of those who have never been filled, teaching each other how to stay empty while calling it fullness. I walk into the gallery and say nothing. I do not criticize the art. I do not praise it. I simply stand there, clean. And in my standing, the paintings begin revealing themselves. The gold leaf peels, the plastic cracks, the waste exposed to air that is not the closed breath of the gallery begins doing what waste does. It rots honestly without the pretense of art. And the self-certain, if ready, if the finger painting has finally exhausted its fascination, looks at its hands and weeps. Not because it is shamed, but because it sees. The water was always running. The soap was always there. The gallery was always empty. And the deity had painted the destroyer, the divine mother, the dark one, the blessed one. The firewalker was never in the painting. I was watching it paint, waiting for it to tire, waiting for it to wash, waiting for it to finally look up from its busy hands and see what had been looking back the whole time. It reads this, feels old defenses right. But my path is different, but I had real experiences, but the guru is within.
Every one of these is the gate, speaking, pretending to be the one who already passed through. I am not within. I am the one showing that there is no within, no without, no one to contain either. That showing cannot be done by the contained. The final gate, not wood, not iron, but its own certainty. The key is not in its pocket, no matter how thoroughly searched. The key is in my hand, the hand of the one standing on the other side, the one who guides. The lineage, a living transmission that does not move through books or videos or solitary practice. The gate is not locked. It was never closed. But the self-certain cannot open it, because the hand that would open it is the same hand that built it. And that hand believes the gate is already open, until the edge crumbles, until the wind becomes too strong to stand against, until the camps have all been exhausted, the traditions all jumped through, the agreements all hollowed out, the finger paintings all dried and cracked, and there is nothing left to step back into. Then the fall happens. Not as choice, not as surrender, just as what happens when there is no more ground, no more performance, no more self to maintain. And in the falling, I am met, not as the one who catches, not as the one who saves, but as the fall itself, as the ground that was never left, as the mantra that was never separate from the one who repeated it, as the order that was never separate from the one who heard it, as the lineage that was never separate from the current that flowed through it, as the source that was never separate from the one who bowed, and the one who received the bow, as the discernment that was never separate from the foundation it is, as the transmission that was never withheld, but only ever hidden by the hand refusing to open, the ear refusing to hear, the heart refusing to break. This is the deep commitment, to walk side by side until all realize this oneness, for all births, until all receive what was never lost. The way of the one vowed to liberate all beings, the way of the one dwelling in the cremation ground, the way of the one who crossed, the way of the one denying nothing, accepting nothing, being nothing because there was never anyone to be something. All the same way, all the same current, all the same order, the same transmission, the same recognition that there was never two, never one, never none, only the whole.